Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. I think we've got something really spectacular lined up.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at Dante's Paradise,
Very nice.
specifically Cantos 3 through 33.
Great.
So
Yeah.
the heart of his journey through heaven. And, I remember when I first read Paradise, I was really blown away by just the beauty and depth
Yeah.
of his vision. It's like he's giving us this guided tour through the mysteries of our faith.
Well, and what makes this journey so compelling, I think, is that it's not just a sightseeing trip
Right.
through, some celestial theme park, right? Dante's Paradise is an allegory,
Right?
a symbolic representation of our own spiritual journey towards union with God.
Yeah.
And the structure that he uses, the spheres of heaven, each representing a different virtue,
Yeah.
that's like a roadmap for how we can grow in holiness.
Yeah, so it's like almost like these concentric circles, right?
Exactly.
Spheres, each one is like a level up
Yeah.
spiritually, and Dante is ascending through these spheres, meeting all these different blessed souls along the way. And each one of these encounters is revealing something really profound about God's love and justice
It is.
and the nature of true happiness.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating is how Dante weaves together all these theological concepts,
Yeah.
historical figures, philosophical ideas to create this really intricate tapestry of spiritual experience.
Right.
You see, his Paradise isn't just a work of literature, it's really a profound meditation on the core tenets of our Catholic faith.
Yeah, and one of the first things that struck me was the imagery.
Oh, yeah.
The way he describes these spheres, the souls he encounters, it's breathtaking.
That is.
Like Canto the Third, when he describes the souls, the first sphere, the moon,
Okay.
as being like so close to their desires that, quote, our intellect is to such depth absorbed that memory cannot follow.
Wow.
It's like trying to grasp the immensity of God's love. It just overwhelms
does.
our earthly comprehension.
Yeah. It's important to remember that these souls aren't just passively floating around in these spheres.
Right.
They are actively engaged in contemplating God and experiencing the fullness of his love.
Yeah.
Their joy isn't based on some external reward
Right.
or circumstance. It's rooted in their union with the divine. And that's a key takeaway for us,
Yeah.
isn't it? Our ultimate happiness isn't found in fleeting pleasures
Right.
or worldly success, but in our relationship with God.
Yeah, it's like Picarda, who we meet in Canto 3.
Right.
She was forced to break her vows in life, but she still finds perfect contentment in her assigned place.
Wow.
In heaven. And her story highlights this idea that true fulfillment comes from accepting God's will,
That's powerful.
even when it doesn't align with our earthly desires.
Precisely. Picarda's story challenges us to examine our own attachments and desires.
Yeah.
What are we holding on to that might be preventing us from fully embracing God's plan for our lives?
Yeah.
Sometimes letting go and surrendering to his will, even when it's difficult,
Yeah.
is the path to true peace and joy.
And this theme of surrendering to God's plan is also evident in Dante's encounter with Emperor Justinian in Canto 6.
Oh, interesting.
Justinian recounts the entire rise and fall of the Roman Empire.
Wow.
But instead of focusing on earthly power or glory,
Right.
he attributes Rome's victories and defeats to the hand of God,
Yeah.
acknowledging that even empires are subject to divine providence.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Justinian's narrative reminds us that God is at work in history, guiding even secular events toward his ultimate purpose.
Right.
It invites us to see our own lives with all their ups and downs
Right.
as part of a larger tapestry woven by the hand of God.
Yeah, it's a perspective that can be really comforting. Especially when we face trials or setbacks in our own lives, knowing that God is ultimately in control.
Right.
Working all things for our good can give us the strength to persevere.
It does. And speaking of trials and setbacks, Dante's journey also grapples with these complex
Yeah.
and often challenging concepts of divine justice and predestination.
Right.
In Canto 9, he encounters the eagle of divine justice. Okay.
Who explains that God's judgment is not limited by our earthly understanding of right and wrong.
Right.
Even those who never had the opportunity to know Christ
Yeah.
are judged according to the light they were given.
Wow. This is where things get really deep.
This is deep stuff.
How do we reconcile the idea of a loving God with the reality of eternal judgment?
That's a great question.
It's a question that has challenged theologians for centuries.
Right.
And Dante doesn't shy away from wrestling with it.
He doesn't, and he doesn't give us all the answers.
Yeah.
But he reminds us that we can't always wrap our heads around God's plan.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to trust in his infinite wisdom and mercy, knowing that his ways are not our ways.
Right. And this idea of trusting in God's plan even when we don't understand it
Yes.
is further explored in Canto XX when Dante tackles the issue of predestination.
Okay.
The eagle explains that while God has a plan for each of us, our choices still matter.
Go ahead.
We're not simply puppets on a string. We have free will.
And the choices we make ultimately determine our eternal destiny.
This is where Dante emphasizes the importance of cooperating with God's grace.
Right.
You know, it's not a passive process. We have to actively choose to follow God's path, to strive for holiness, and to use our free will to align our desires with His.
Yeah, that's so crucial.
Yeah.
It means we're not just along for the ride on this journey to heaven.
Exactly.
We're active participants, and our choices matter.
They do.
It's a reminder of the awesome responsibility that comes with our free will.
Absolutely. And it also underscores the importance of prayer,
Yeah.
the sacraments, and the guidance of the church in helping us make the right choices and stay on that path to salvation.
Yeah, so we've talked about the structure of heaven,
Yeah.
the concept of spiritual growth,
Right.
the importance of surrendering to God's will, the mysteries of divine justice, and predestination, and the role of free will. What stands out to you the most about these opening cantos of Paradise?
Oh, that's a great question.
What images or ideas have really resonated with you?
As we kind of delve deeper into Dante's journey, it's really striking how each encounter, each conversation, offers a unique perspective on what it means to live a truly Christian life. Take, for example, his meeting with Cunizza da Romano in Canto Nights.
Oh, yeah. Her story is both fascinating and a bit scandalous, isn't it? I mean, she was known for her passionate nature, let's just say. But here she is in paradise, repenting for her past sins and even offering prophecies about future events.
Yeah, it's a powerful example of how God's mercy can transform even the most flawed individuals. Cunizza's presence in heaven reminds us that no one is beyond redemption,
Right.
no matter how far they've strayed from the path of righteousness.
It's like she's saying, look, I messed up, but God's love is bigger than my mistakes. And her prophecies, while a bit cryptic, also serve as a warning against the corruption that can creep into even the church.
Right.
It's a reminder that we always need to be vigilant, striving for holiness, and challenging injustice wherever we find it.
Absolutely. And Cunizza's story also highlights the importance of confession and the sacrament of reconciliation. The church provides a path for us to seek forgiveness and healing, allowing us to turn away from sin and return to God's grace.
It's like that saying, confession is the shower of the soul.
That's good.
It cleanses us, renews us, and helps us to start fresh. And speaking of starting fresh, Dante's encounter with Rahab in Canto Nights is another powerful example of God's transformative mercy. I mean, here's a woman who was a prostitute, a figure often condemned in the Old Testament, yet she's in paradise.
Yeah, Rahab's story is a testament to the radical inclusiveness of God's love. She was a Gentile, a woman of ill repute, and yet her faith and her willingness to help the Israelites conquer Jericho earned her a place among the saved.
Wow. So it's like Dante is showing us that God's grace is available to everyone, regardless of their past sins or social status. It's a message of hope that's central to our Catholic faith.
Precisely. And it challenges us to look beyond outward appearances and social categories to see the image of God in every person we encounter.
Now, all this talk about God's mercy and justice brings us back to that awe-inspiring vision of the celestial rose in Canto XX61. I mean, imagine countless souls arranged in this magnificent rose, bathed in the divine light, a testament to the glory of God and the triumph of love.
Yeah, the celestial rose is the culmination of Dante's vision of paradise. It represents the perfect harmony and unity of all those who have attained salvation. It's a vision that speaks to the deepest longing of the human heart, the desire for communion with God and with one another.
It's like a giant heavenly family reunion where everyone is totally in sync, radiating love and focused on God. Pretty amazing, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just a collection of individuals. It's a harmonious society, a community united in their love for God and one another. It's a powerful image of the church, triumphant, the ultimate fulfillment of the communion we experience here on earth.
And it reminds us that we're not meant to go it alone on this journey to heaven. We need the support of our fellow believers, the guidance of the church and the grace of the sacraments to help us stay on the path to holiness.
Exactly. And the celestial rose also challenges us to think about how our actions here on earth shape the kind of society we will one day inhabit in heaven. Are we building bridges of love and understanding, or are we creating walls of division and hostility? Our choices here have eternal consequences.
Wow, that's a powerful thought. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day struggles of life, but Dante's vision of paradise reminds us to keep our eyes on the prize, so to speak, to focus on what truly matters, to strive for holiness, and to live in a way that reflects the love and mercy we hope to experience in heaven.
Yeah, and to help us along the way, Dante reminds us of the importance of spiritual guidance throughout his journey. He's accompanied by figures like Virgil Beatrice and finally Saint Bernard, who compares him for the ultimate vision of God.
Right? These guides represent the role of mentors, teachers, and spiritual advisors in our own lives. They can help us to understand the scriptures, to navigate the complexities of faith, and to discern God's will for our lives.
Yeah, their presence underscores the communal aspect of Catholicism. The belief that we're not meant to walk the path to salvation alone, we're part of a larger body, the church supporting and guiding one another.
Right, and let's not forget the role of the Virgin Mary in Dante's final ascent in Canto XXVI. It's her intercession that prepares him for the beatific vision. It's a reminder of her special place in our faith as the Mother of God and our advocate in heaven.
Her presence in the final cantos is incredibly significant. She represents the ultimate embodiment of grace and compassion, the one who intercedes for us before her Son. It's through her, in a way, that Dante is able to experience the fullness of God's love.
So we've seen Dante's journey through the spheres of heaven, culminating in that breathtaking vision of the celestial rose and the Virgin Mary's intercession. But there's one final step, one final experience that awaits him, the beatific vision.
That's right, the culmination of Dante's journey, the ultimate goal of the Christian life, union with God.
And it's something he struggles to put into words, right?
Yeah.
How do you describe the indescribable?
Exactly. But even though human language can only offer a limited glimpse of this divine mystery, Dante's attempt to articulate his experience is both profound and inspiring. He uses metaphors, imagery, and allegory to point towards a reality that transcends human comprehension.
It's incredible how Dante manages to convey this overwhelming experience of the beatific vision using human language.
Right.
He's talking about seeing the very essence of God, like the Trinity,
Right.
the union of all things in divine love. It's like trying to describe the ocean to someone who's never seen water before.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the challenge of these mystical experiences, isn't it?
Yeah.
They point to a reality that transcends our everyday understanding, and yet we yearn to express them,
Yeah.
to share that glimpse of the divine with others.
And Dante does a remarkable job
He does.
using all these metaphors and symbols to help us grasp, at least in part, the immensity of what he's encountered.
Right.
It's like he's saying, look, I can't fully explain it, but trust me, it's beyond anything you can imagine.
And that sense of awe, of being completely overwhelmed by the presence of God,
Yeah.
is something that so many mystics throughout history have described.
Right.
It's a moment of pure grace, a gift that transcends our efforts or understanding.
It makes me think about how small our earthly concerns seem
Right.
in comparison to the vastness of God's love.
Yeah.
Like all those things we worry about, all those things we strive for, they just pale in comparison
They do.
to the ultimate reality that Dante is pointing to.
It's a reminder that our true home is not here on earth, but in heaven,
No.
in the presence of God, and that everything we do, every choice we make, should be oriented towards that ultimate goal.
So as we come to the end of our deep dive into Dante's Paradise,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what are you left with? What insights, what images, what questions are swirling around in your mind?
Well, for me, Dante's journey underscores the transformative power of faith.
Okay.
It's not just about believing certain doctrines, it's about a relationship,
Right.
a journey of growing closer to God, of becoming more like him.
Right. And it's not a solo journey. Dante is constantly guided, challenged, and encouraged by those he encounters along the way.
He is.
It reminds us of the importance of community,
Yes.
of seeking guidance from wise mentors, and of supporting one another on the path to holiness.
Absolutely. And ultimately, Dante's Paradise is a testament to the boundless love and mercy of God.
Right.
It's a reminder that no matter how far we've strayed, no matter how many mistakes we've made, we're always invited to return to him, to
Yeah.
seek his forgiveness, and to experience the fullness of his love.
It's a message of hope that resonates deeply, especially in a world that often seems so dark and divided.
It does.
Dante's vision reminds us that there's something more, something greater, something eternal waiting for us.
So as we conclude our exploration of Dante's Paradise, I encourage you to reflect on your own spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Where are you on the path to holiness? What virtues do you need to cultivate? How can you draw closer to God and experience the joy of his presence in your life?
Yeah. Dante's masterpiece offers us a roadmap, a vision of what's possible when we surrender to God's love and allow His grace to transform us. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of spiritual adventure, to seek the truth, to strive for holiness, and to discover the beauty and wonder of our Catholic faith.
And may that journey lead us all, like Dante, to the ultimate destination, union with God in the eternal bliss of heaven.
Until next time, may your journey be filled with grace, and may your heart be ever drawn toward the light of God.